Project Koko began in 1972 when Dr. Francine Patterson undertook a study of the language capabilities of apes by teaching American Sign Language to a year-old lowland gorilla named Koko. Although it wasn't the first study of primate language abilities, it was the first to involve a gorilla. After 23 years, it is not only the longest uninterrupted project of its kind, but has exceeded the expectations of everyone involved.
I was ready to just sign to her everything about what she was doing, but my professor, Carl Pribram, said, no, I think you better start simple. Start with 3 signs or so, and I said, okay, let's try food, drink, and more, since those seem to be really important words.
After only 1 month as a student, Koko was using sign language to make simple requests, and by the age of 2 to form short phrases. Koko now knows over 1,000 words in sign and understands spoken English.
Because Koko was raised in an English-speaking environment, I decided to keep speaking English to her. And it became clear to me after a while that when I didn't sign, or when someone came who didn't know sign, who said something to her, for instance, somebody came to her window and said, well, what's the sign for good? And Koko's demonstrating it immediately. So she clearly translates. So if we ask her to say a word, she can sign it.
How about eye? All right. How about ear? All right, okay. You're doing real good, Koko. Okay, let's do an F word. How about fruit? Very good.
In 1976, Dr. Patterson, Dr. Ron Cohn, and the late Barbara Hiller established the Gorilla Foundation in Woodside, California. The Gorilla Foundation is a non-profit organization designed to support the continuation of the language study, and more importantly, to create a secure future for gorillas, both in captivity and in the wild.
Initially, I thought I'd work 4 years and learn all about ape language and stop. This is what other researchers had done, and it seemed like an okay idea at the time. But what I came to realize is that there was an obligation and a bond that I could not ignore. And an emotional bond had been formed, just like between a mother and child. And you can't just sever that bond without extreme consequences on both sides. What hits me as I work with her and discover that she's capable of lying, that she's got a good sense of humor, that she has a sense of, has a very active emotional life, and also that she can be embarrassed. I think that was the one that got me the most, is that, wow, she is every bit as much of a person as I am.
In 1978, Koko made her first appearance on the cover of National Geographic. 7 years later, she was featured again when she adopted a small, tailless kitten she named All Ball. Extremely affectionate with the kitten, Koko's gentleness helped to dispel centuries-old myths about the nature of gorillas.
The image that has been portrayed of gorillas over the years and in the media has been that of a ferocious beast that crushes cars and carries off women. And they look the part, but in fact, gorillas are very, very docile animals, very gentle, very loving parents.
Oh, the drapes, wow. Guess we're not going to get much of a view. That's dark drapes.
She has helped to change the image of gorillas from a ferocious monster, which a survey in England showed as one of the most hated animals of all was a gorilla. Now, if you take this, there have been people who've done the same sort of surveys. Gorillas aren't on the list. Gorillas are now seen as gentle and loving and intelligent and wise and worth saving. And I think this is largely because Koko has projected that image, in that the image of her cuddling the kitten, that just says what words cannot say about the nature of a gorilla.
When Koko was 5, the Gorilla Foundation adopted a male gorilla named Michael. Born wild and orphaned in Africa, he came to the foundation through a zoo in Vienna at the age of 3.5. The Gorilla Foundation began working with him immediately, and Michael now has a vocabulary of over 500 signs.
Michael actually has added a totally different level to the project. He is incredibly sensitive and gifted in ways that Koko was not. He's not as talkative, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't know sign language as well. In fact, what I found in talking with him is that he seems to be better able to sustain a coherent conversation and stay on track than she does. And yet he chooses not to talk most of the time. He's the strong silent type. And he's also a gifted artist, so he has different outlets for his creativity. I think Koko's his language in a lot of ways. He uses language to create. Michael uses art and music to create. He has done something that looks like a bouquet of flowers with a bouquet of flowers as a model, and a bell pepper with a bell pepper as a model. His dog with his dog from memory. The idea when Michael joined her was to give her gorilla companionship and a potential future mate. At that time, we didn't understand that when gorillas are raised together, there is a taboo against mating, just as there is with humans. And most of the time it is enforced. There are exceptions. And we knew that to the extent that we didn't have them sleeping together at night. We kept them separate. But she came to consider him as her kid brother. And really, the bond was not a mating bond, it was a sibling bond. We feel it's important that Koko mate for a couple of reasons. One is that gorillas are an endangered species, and there are so few of them that we need every gorilla that we can get. And the other reason is that she very much wants to have a baby. We had a video on the screen with a baby gorilla, and she signed me that. She wanted that. Another time she has said, baby, we want baby. And beyond that is the question of whether a baby would learn sign language from her. And we believe that she would model the signs because we've seen her doing this with her dolls. Only her ape dolls, though.
Look what I brought, Koko. Nipple. Nipple have Koko love. Okay, let's take just the baby, not my hand. Oh, you love it. Drink. Where does the baby drink? Drink. The baby's sign. She's got a mouth. Drink, mouth. She's had the baby answer. The baby said, drink, mouth. That's right.
When it became apparent that Michael and Koko were not likely to form a mating bond, the Gorilla Foundation began a worldwide search for other available males.
We were fortunate to have access to videotapes at that time of males that needed to be placed, and Koko would watch them. And what she ended up doing was kind of thumbs up, thumbs down. If she liked the gorilla, she would stare at the screen. She would ask for us to play it again and again. And if she had access to the screen, she'd kiss the screen or sign love.
Have you been looking at the gorilla? Gorilla Koko love. You looking? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, a big kiss.
So the one that was at the top of the list was a male alone in the Rome Zoo. But even after some negotiations, he was not available. They would not send him to her. Her second choice was in Ndume, and he was then at the Brookfield Zoo. He was smaller than Koko, and I think that was important when he came, for her to feel comfortable with him. Typically, when you introduce gorillas in a zoo setting, you're very cautious. First they just see each other, then there's mesh in between and they can actually smell and touch each other. And then you wait longer and see if the signs are right to put them together. Well, as soon as Ndume came out into the yard and there was only mesh between them, she instantly said, Koko love, open there, open, hurry.
What do you want? Do that? Open? Nice, that? Really? Good, okay. You mean to open this? Is this what you mean? Koko, love. Hurry. Good. Hurry. Have nice. Oh, you're going to be nice? Koko, love. Good. Okay. You're going to be nice, huh?
So we opened the gate and she ran in and chased him around. And she had no fear of him whatsoever. Wanted to get close to him and see what he was like. And he was frightened.
He already runs, Koko. I mean, you don't need a stick. Just try to throw it at him.
They coexist very nicely at this point, but there is still no bond, no mating bond. One of the reasons that Koko may not have formed a mating relationship with Ndume could be the environment we're in. We have to deal with bad weather, so that there are many days they can't be together. They interact outside mostly. We have to deal with chainsaws and motorcycles. In other words, this is not the ideal setting for her to relax and form a comfortable relationship with him.
For the past 10 years, the Gorilla Foundation has worked towards establishing a preserve in a warm, politically stable, and more natural environment for the gorillas. Through a generous land donation from Mary Cameron Sanford of Maui Land and Pineapple Company, the foundation now has a location for the preserve. However, they still need funds to build facilities for the gorillas before they can complete the move.
Gorillas in captivity live a very long time. The record is 54 years. So Koko is in the middle of her lifespan, and yet she has a biological clock just like we do, so that she may run out of time if we don't get her to the preserve in a nice mating environment before it's too late. The other reason that we're establishing the preserve is because gorillas in the wild are in trouble. Mountain gorillas have a very small habitat left. It's less than about 100 square miles. And there are only 600 of them left. They are also in an area which has, if you know about the news in Rwanda, is very, very unstable, which means a political decision or a war could wipe them out entirely, so they're incredibly vulnerable. Lowland gorillas number in the thousands. We don't know how many, but the latest news out of their habitat is that foreign logging crews are going in. They're putting logging roads in, and as they enter the forest, they are taking gorillas. They're taking them to feed the logging crews. I mean, this is just appalling. It's not legal, but who's out there to say you can't do this? So the importance of the preserve has been underscored. We always knew that they were threatened, but now it looks much more serious for their survival.
After 23 years, Project Koko has not only fulfilled its initial research purpose, but by working with Koko from infancy through maturity, the foundation has served as an irreplaceable resource for information about gorillas that will not only help us understand them better, but will keep them safe. The Gorilla Foundation hopes to accomplish the move to the preserve as soon as possible. Because they are not supported by grants or endowments, their success relies solely on private donations. You can help.
When you smoke, I'll show you. Here's what exhale means. Right. You're beautiful, Koko.